What's up, guys? Jekyl here, and we're finally getting to the video I promised. We're going to take a look at Mac from the perspective of a lifetime Windows user for creative purposes. Let's go. Okay, now the first thing I want to say is I have done a few things with my Mac, so it's not bone stock. Okay, I am familiar with the macOS. I have used them for work, and my wife also has a MacBook. She has a MacBook Air. One of the things that I have done is I've gone ahead and I've maxed out the available RAM that I can put into this thing. It's got 16 gigs of RAM, and I've also replaced the hard drive. I replaced it from a spinner to a SSD. So that I have better performance that way as well. It has an i5 dual-core CPU from Intel. And let me pull up the About This Mac so you can see. It's a late 2012. The reason I bought a late 2012 is so that I could upgrade everything. Here's the 16 gigs of RAM. Okay. And you'll notice down here it's running Ventura. Out of the box, a 2012 Mac will not run Ventura. So I used OpenCore, and I was able to install and boot to Ventura. So I have the latest OS, and I can use all of the latest applications and everything. If you guys are interested in a video on how to upgrade a Mac Mini, hardware and software, leave a comment below. Let me know what you want to see, and I will work on getting that video out for you as well. Future Rich here. I forgot to say it in the beginning of the video, but I got this Mac Mini for $90, under $100. And then I already had the components to do the upgrade, but you can find components for it for pretty cheap. You could probably find the 500 gig SSD for, $30 or $40, and you could find DDR3 RAM for even less. So under $150, you can have a fully maxed out Mac Mini from 2012. And then if you want to take the time to do OpenCore, you'll have it all the way up to Ventura. All right, back to present me. The first thing I did was came in and just poked around in the App Store, which honestly, I like this App Store better than the Microsoft application store because it functions more like I'm used to. How can I explain this? We use app stores on our cell phones, our smartphones, but I don't typically use it for my Windows PC. Anything that I want, I just go to the internet and search for it and download it, right? The App Store on a Mac works the exact same way as the App Store on an iPhone, on an iPad, which I think is really cool. I really like that a lot. One of the first things I did when I replaced all the hardware, before I replaced also, is AJA has a really nice system tester. You can check your write and read times from your hard drive. You can check your resolutions, all this kind of stuff. As you can see here, there's settings for everything. You can go to 3K. You can go all the way up to 8K resolution if you really want to test that out. You test file sizes, you can make that different. You can change the codec of a video, your target disk, which is always going to be the hard drive for this. And there's a settings panel as well. You can customize this to your heart's content. If you want it, it's a free app. It's in the App Store, AJA. It's all you have to search for, and it'll come right up. Now, I'll go more in-depth in this in the video where I talk about updating or upgrading hardware. When I ran this on the spinning drive, even after I upgraded the RAM to 16 gigs, I was only getting like 40 to 50 megabytes per second write and read speed. Now that I've put an SSD in there, this gives a lot of credence to the whole SSD is better than a spinner disk because look how fast that is. That's a 1 gig file, read and write, and it was almost I mean, it's perfectly even, and it was almost 500 megabits per second each, which I think is fantastic. And just because I'm curious, let's see how this thing handles a bit of a 4K video. Look at that. Even better. And if we make the file size bigger, takes a little longer, which is expected because it's a larger file. But it's handling it very well. Surprisingly well for a now nearly 11-year-old computer. I think it's fantastic. I'm going to set these back to where I had them. Now, one thing with this, the first thing I want to point out, I'm using the built-in screen recorder for this, and there's a specific reason why I'm using the built-in screen recorder. Obviously, having it built into the system is handy. It is definitely convenient to have. I think it's great. I think Windows needs to have something like that. But it's limited, right? All you can do is record the screen and use a microphone. That's it. Some people won't need much more, especially if you are using this for like work presentations or something like that. However, a lot of us, especially if we are into content creation, are going to need more features. We need something more robust, where something like OBS Studio comes in. I tested this out a little bit. OBS on a Mac destroys the CPU and the RAM. It absolutely just chews through data. And because of that, I get really, really laggy and staticky video recordings when I try to use the same settings that I use on my PC. I'm not sure why that is, but it's completely possible that I just need to customize the settings a little bit, something that I need to sit down and do, because no two machines are the same, right? Especially when you're using different operating systems. Let's take a look at GarageBand. So for those who don't know, GarageBand is a free, made by Apple, digital audio workstation that you can use for recording, mixing, and mastering music to be released. As a creative person myself, on Windows, I've used everything from free apps like Cakewalk. I've used Reaper a lot. Studio One. I've used Pro Tools, Cubase. I've tried a bunch of them. I've not used GarageBand yet because it's only for macOS. But now that I have a Mac, let's give it a try. It actually took quite a while to open up. Several minutes, because it was reading some files on the back end. I'm not sure if it's going to do that every time, but that's something that we can test. I do like that they have a learn to play here. You can learn how to play guitar, which is nice. You can learn how to play piano, which is nice. I like that a lot. There are some DAWs that you can get for a PC that do this as well, but it's nice to have it right in the App Store, made by Apple. That's cool. I dig that. I do know that a lot of people, GarageBand has like a cult following online, I've seen. There are entire YouTube channels dedicated just to using GarageBand as your DAW. And that's fine. You know, if that's what people want to use, that's definitely what you should use. It's whatever you're comfortable with, because ultimately the results you get out of whatever DAW you're using is up to the person using it, not necessarily the software. So details to create an empty object, you have all your basic stuff, your tempo, key, time, your input device, which is nice. So I'm going to make sure that my input and output are set to my USB interface and create the empty object. Let's see how long this takes. Not too long. That was pretty good. Okay. We can create tracks. It tells you what each one is. I assume this is like a MIDI drummer. I'm not going to go too in depth with this. I just want to see how easy it is to get in and how difficult it is to start pulling over audio and start working on music here. So we've got, okay, every time you go to open, okay, we got mono and stereo, cool. You can set automatic monitoring, that's fine. Yep, it goes into and out of there, very cool. Okay, so we have 2 tracks. Let's go into the Finder, which is their equivalent of File Explorer. You can see I've done some testing already. And I'm going to look for some music. So right off the bat, trying to get anything in, I have my stuff stored in iCloud or in OneDrive, which didn't automatically show up in locations, even though I've been using OneDrive on this Mac. So I had to get that added. That's kind of frustrating. It should just be there. Or just open up, when I click on OneDrive, just open up OneDrive so I can look at my files that way too. So this is reaching out. Let's see how long it takes to actually load my OneDrive. I know it's not a network issue because on PC, going straight to OneDrive takes no time at all. We'll see how long this takes, and then I'll get some audio added, and we'll kind of give it a go. So I've been sitting here this whole time, and I just noticed this OneDrive is not enabled. I've been sitting here for a good couple of minutes waiting on this. If I didn't start looking at this, wondering what's going on, I probably would not have seen that. Let's click the button. Looks like it's going. All right, that's a little annoying. I'm not sure why it did that, but now I can see some of my files. This is a project I'm working on with a band here out of the Tampa area. And let's take a look, see if we can get some of the files here. Here's some RAWs. I'm only going to pull a few in, so let's grab a bass. Can I not just drag you in? There we go. Okay, that took a minute, but it's there. Let's see if it plays. Hold on, I don't want the metronome. Okay, and that's playing. Cool. Oh, gotta go back to Finder. Yep, it's called Finder, not File Explorer, Rich. Like some of this is on me for not knowing exactly the nuances that I would know in PC for using it so long. So we've got the bass. Let's get a guitar in here. There we are. Oh, it takes a while though. And one more guitar so I can pan them and see how well this works. Does it automatically create a track? Okay, it does. Very cool. Let's minimize you. And I'm only going to play with these because I just want to see how easy or difficult and how much sense this makes for me. Okay, so here's the pan. That's the volume. Mute. I guess this is solo? Yeah. And that's the monitoring. All right. So let's get those. Why is it only 64? And why did that only go to 63? That's weird. Okay, it's working. Curious to see how easy it'll be to put some of the plugins on here. Plugins. What do I want to use? Where's my plugins? Because I have a bunch of plugins. So these are just sounds. Editor. Okay, so that. Okay, that's cool. I can edit each track individually in a larger screen. That's nice. Or I can look at the track controls. Here's EQ. That's nice. I like that. Here's effects. Let's see, distortion. Doesn't show any of my stuff. Reverb. Okay. How do I go back now? Oh, okay, there we go. Okay. Let's see. Track, maybe? No. Okay. I'd have to figure that out. I'm not going to take forever here because I don't want to take up your time. Okay, so yeah, I would have to look and see where my plugins are, how to get them imported into GarageBand. Let's try settings real quick before we move on. Okay, we've got our software stuff. No. Audio MIDI, instrument and effects. That's enable audio units, but it doesn't say where I can put my plugins. Also, no plugins, no plugins, no plugins. All right, so it's not in settings. That doesn't make sense. I don't know where it would go because I have a ton of them already installed. You can see I've got Goblin, a couple of guitar stuff. I've got my waves. That's interesting. Super interesting. One thing I want to check while I have this open though is, not in Finder, here. Let's go into here and to the monitor. Let's see what GarageBand uses as far as processes. Okay, so GarageBand is currently using 7.4% of the CPU. My memory is well in hand. It's only using 232 megabytes. Not bad. I like that a lot. It's real lightweight. And I imagine once you get this up and running the way that you like it, this is a handy little thing. I like it a lot. You just got to learn to use it. All right, so I put a copy of Reaper on here. I haven't loaded a license yet, so it's going to be trial, but it automatically started looking for plugins. GarageBand did not do that. So that's cool. I like that a lot. That's why I use Reaper. I know there's that whole stigma, oh, Reaper fans, but you know, it works. I see no reason to move to something else if something this inexpensive is this awesome. Same thing with Cakewalk. Cakewalk is fully functional and it's free on PC. I wish it was on Mac because I would use it here. But I'll let this finish importing all of my plugins, and we'll get to a quick project. Okay, same as GarageBand. As soon as you boot up for the first time, it asks if you want to set up your interface. I do. I'm not going to worry about that for right now. So, device, audio device. I'm going to use that. That is my interface. Cool. All right. And since we're already here, let's see where VST is. Plugins. It's right here. Look at that. It found all of my plugins on the machine. Hit apply. Reaper would like to access the microphone. Yes, that's fine. And okay. Still evaluating. This is just for the purposes of this video, because I haven't gone through and imported my license yet. But same thing, and I kind of already know how this works, so I'm going to grab a few, and same thing. You know what? I'll grab these drum scratch too. Why not? Let's go ahead and toss them in here. That should ask me if I want to separate the tracks, and it does. So that works just like on Windows. Nice. We'll give that a moment to load, and then we'll see how similar to Windows this is to use the plugins and such. All right. Oh, I grabbed the wrong bass track. That's funny. And the wrong guitar track. All right, so that's something that kind of threw me off. It changed from that little red icon to this white icon. So that's something I need to remember to look out for. Okay, drums are already in there. So let's grab these guitars, that bass. Now we'll move them in. Perfect. Separate tracks, yes. That's fine. That's volume. And I have my console down here. Let's go ahead. Yep, 100. 100. That works. And effects is the exact same way. I have all my stuff here, which is nice. So just for the sake of testing, let's go ahead and put VST. Let's do Fenrir. Fenrir is a very cool IR loader. Okay, so let's see if it automatically goes to the IRs. It does. Nice. Fenrir knew to go straight here. Awesome. So let's put one here. Okay. Close that, and we'll put one here. We'll use a different one. We'll use the Palmer. So those are set. And then, yeah, it works just as expected. That's pretty cool. Hopefully this comes through on the screen recording. I won't know until I actually part this down to try to get the video working, which is going to be the next thing that we do. Now that we've gone through the DAW, I know for a fact that I can use this for the mixing and mastering phase. I'm not going to go into recording right now because most of the things that I'm doing right now is just mixing and mastering. So, all right, I'm going to stop this recording. I'm going to start a new one, and we're going to use this as a test for video. Okay, so we're going to start looking at how useful this system will be for using video editing. We're going to start off with my favorite, DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is a free video editor. It's fully featured except for a couple of premium, but it doesn't look like it's taken too long to open, which is nice. At least not any longer than it does on Windows. Yeah, that wasn't bad. Took me straight here. Double click. Let's start a project. It opened right up. Okay, that's working really well. Same thing. I want to kind of see how the processes are working. How hard DaVinci is hitting it. Okay, we've got quite a bit more. It's using 25% of the CPU. Activity monitor is using a whole lot. Oh my goodness. Memory, that should be up. It is up a little bit, but I still haven't gotten anywhere close to the ceiling. I'm okay with that. Let's drag in the video we just did. Oh, do you not like it? There we go. Took it a second. Okay, and then the edit pane is where I prefer to be. Let's put you here. And there we are. So that's working the way that I expect it to. Now this should be a 1080p video. Let's check the timeline. And it is full HD. I'm curious to see how it reacts if I turn it to 4K. All right, so it's 4K. Let's see if it actually plays. It's playing, but that's jittery. All right, I stopped it. Let's put it somewhere. Oh, it's just not responding. There we go. Maybe I didn't grab it. All right, so we're going to start right here because I know that there's something going on in the screen and there's something going on in the audio. And we're at a 4K resolution, so it is up-resing, right? It's not native 4K, but that's fine. Let's see how it does. Yep, that's going to be a no. Let's go back to the timeline. Let's change it back to full HD. It's native resolution. Let's see how that plays. And I go back to the editor instead of in the clip right here because in my experience, at least on Windows, you get a better playback experience in the edit than you do in the other one. So let's hit play and see how this works in 1080p.
Write and read times from your hard drive. You can check your resolutions, all this kind of stuff. As you can see here, there's settings for everything. You can go to 3K. You can go all the way up to 8K resolution.
I think it's safe to say that that's working fine. That's a good thing. 1080 is perfect for what I do. My needs are just 1080 because everything that I do gets posted to YouTube. It's going to get squished and all that kind of stuff anyway. And let's add some effects to my voice. Let's see. Do you see any of my stuff? You do see my VSTs. Okay. Yeah, it automatically picked up on all of my VSTs. I love that. Okay. I need an EQ. Let's go to VST or AUs. Let's see. It's a parametric. Let's try, you know what? Let's try my Focusrite. See how long that takes. It's thinking. Taking a minute. Oh, I got to activate it. That's expected. I haven't used any of this stuff on here yet. All right, so now that we are active and in, we can use our plugin. So Focusrite is cool. This is a console channel strip, basically. I really like it a lot. So let's see if we can't make this go. I'm going to give it a high shelf. Let's pull that up, pull you down. Okay. Give it a little bit of crispiness. And we'll put you, yep, that works. Just turn you on. And let's see how it plays with a plugin.
If you really want to test that out. You test file sizes, you can make that different. You can change
Not getting my screen here.
Video.
Oh, there it is. That took a minute.
Your target disk.
But that's fine. I just want to use audio. I want to hear what it sounds like here anyway. So if we go back to edit, we should be able to.
Be the hard drive.
Yeah.
For this. And there's a settings panel as well.
That's working. Let me run over to the section where I am looking at one of the DAWs because I want to see if audio is coming through. All right, I think I found a section where some audio should be playing from the DAW. Let's see if this screen recorder was able to pick it up. Okay, I think I found a good spot on the timeline. Let's see if this actually picks up audio as well. I'm not sure that it does because there's not an option for that in the screen recorder. So, we'll see what it says. Play.
So those are set. And then,
yeah, it's not picking it up. Only in my microphone. That's annoying.
works.
It is what it is. It's kind of frustrating and kind of annoying that it doesn't pick up audio internally. But, what are you going to do? I'm going to figure out how to get OBS working properly. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to use the internal screen recorder. Final thoughts. I think every OS has its merits. From Windows to Mac to the Linux flavors. There's all kinds of use cases. I love Linux for a couple of things like network attached storage. I have Nabara Linux, which I think is a really great lightweight operating system for laptops. I think Mac has its uses. MacOS is great for, especially if you've been using Mac forever, which a lot of people have. I think it's nice. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. It does what I ask it to do. And there are things that are different, but that's expected because it's a different operating system, different manufacturer, different developer. And it's going to take me some time to get used to that and to set up things the way that I want them to be set up, to work the way that I want them to work. And that's fine, because I had to do that with Windows too. But because I've been using Windows for so long, I know exactly where to go and how to get it done. Bit of a learning curve, just like if you were to go from Mac to Windows, bit of a learning curve. I don't think either one is better for anything, especially for a creative person such as myself. I think that Windows is great because it's more flexible on applications. There are applications that I can use on Windows that I can't on Mac, and obviously vice versa. So yeah, I think Mac is great. Windows is great. They're both great. Kind of an anticlimactic ending, probably. I'm not sure what you were expecting, but I hope you enjoyed watching the video. It's something new for me, so I'm planning on doing more stuff with this kind of stuff moving forward. Operating systems, I'll do a Linux one for you if you'd like, because I am totally all about cheap tech. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got any value out of it, or you enjoyed it, or you thought it was dumb, whatever, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see in the future, making more videos like this. I'm not going to be doing exclusively gaming anymore, so yay! Budget tech. That's what I like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new and hit that notification bell. I'd appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. And I'll see you all next time.